As restaurant occupancy has relaxed around the nation and in Pennsylvania, traffic has been brisk and customers are downright joyous to return to their favorite restaurants. U.S. restaurants generated $61.2 billion in sales this March, up 13.4% from February, according to the U.S. Census data released earlier this week. Sales are still below where they were pre-pandemic, but the surge in sales was across all restaurant types and driven by two things: stimulus and consumers' pandemic fatigue. CBRE Hotels Advisory released its latest U.S. Outlook presentation. CBRE noted that the U.S. added over 900,000 jobs in March, with the leisure and hospitality sector seeing the biggest gain at 280,000. Demand for travel and hospitality are predicted to continue a strong rebound as commercial banks are showing steep and significant increases in savings for 2020. That said, staffing is still an extraordinary challenge. PRLA is devoting significant effort and financial resources to bring workers back to the industry, but at least for the short term, staffing is the number one challenge. We will also continue to explore programs to incentivize employees to return to work versus staying home. Acting Secretary of PA Department of Labor, Jennifer Barrier, testified at a House Labor and Industry Committee hearing on Wednesday that the department is also discussing reinstating work search requirements for those individuals collecting unemployment benefits. The timeline for implementation is still being determined. Pennsylvania officials also opened vaccines up to all residents over the age of 16. Guidance around the $28.6 billion Restaurant Revitalization Fund continues to take shape. It looks like hotels and inns that have at least 1/3 of their sales in food and beverage and meet certain other criteria will also be eligible for grants. Our partners at the National Restaurant Association will be holding a comprehensive webinar about the RRF as soon as the details are finalized by the Small Business Administration. The PRLA Daily Update will provide scheduling details. As I mentioned last week, for those who do not qualify for money from this fund, our state will be receiving an estimated $13 billion in state and local grant money from the American Rescue Plan. PRLA is pushing hard for the investment of $1 billion for grants to hotels, restaurants, and travel and tourism partners. Further, we're asking that $15 million be dedicated to help the state's 50 struggling destination marketing organizations. And lastly, from the federal funds, we'd like to see $20 million dedicated to the state tourism office so we can begin bringing visitors back to Pennsylvania. Our legislative roundtables have kicked off for 2021, and we are highlighting these needs in each one. Legislative roundtables are intimate and meaningful discussions with the elected officials from your area on the ways they can support your business and industry. I encourage you to register for the next one in your area. In addition to addressing these needs during our roundtables, PRLA was invited to testify before the Pennsylvania Senate Majority Policy Committee on Tuesday. My testimony focused on the impact of COVID and the resulting mitigation on the state's hospitality and travel industry, as well as action the legislature can take to assist in our industry's recovery. The committee is chaired by longtime industry friend, Senator Mario Scavello, and heard testimony from PRLA and 17 others. On Wednesday, PRLA's Melissa Bova was a guest on Philadelphia's Morning Answer with Chris Stegall to discuss Philadelphia's strict guidelines despite the state relaxing restrictions for indoor dining everywhere else. This week, our friend Representative Kurt Mosser filed legislation addressing one of PRLA's COVID priorities, which would make mixed drinks to go permanent. Lastly, congratulations to Hilton Hotels. Hilton was named by Fortune as the #1 best big company to work for and #3 best company overall to work for in the US. Workplace culture is critical to attracting and keeping team members. So well done, Hilton, on creating an environment for success. I'm John Longstreet with another edition of It Happened This Week. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you again next week.